Tonight, it is almost go time for the athletes of the Winter Olympic Games, but what about the locals?
So do you think people in Milan are excited about the Olympics?
Not so far, I have to say.
Why that is about to change. And when the IOC needed world-class ice,
we will be completely ready.
They called in the Canadians.
Also tonight, remembering 3 young hockey players and learning about the crash that killed them.
So when they proceeded through, that's when that passenger vehicle was hit by the semi-truck.
Ahead of crucial midterm elections, Donald Trump floats another trial balloon.
The Republicans ought to nationalize the voting.
Lawmakers have other ideas, and so does the Constitution.
From CBC News, this is The National with Erica Johnson and Chief Correspondent Adrian Arsenault in Milan.
Thank you for joining us. Here in Milan, we are just outside the city's iconic Duomo, and we are just hours away from the start of Olympic competition. Tonight, we'll take you inside the athletes' village here in Milan and find out why Olympic ice is being put into Canadian hands. And we'll take a hard look at why the locals are holding back their excitement. But first, we'll send it over to Erica with the day's other news.
Thanks, Adrian. As the news sinks in of the deaths of 3 junior hockey players in a highway crash, shock and grief are hitting 2 provinces, in the home community of the Southern Alberta Mustangs and in Kamloops, BC, hometown of 2 of the players. With details emerging of what happened on the road, Caroline Bargout is in Kamloops, a city coping with loss.
The deaths of 2 teenagers who grew up here but moved away to play hockey are hitting hard in Kamloops, British Columbia.
We wish the families the best, and we think of them. We feel very close to young families and the hockey players.
JJ Wright and Cameron Casorso were 18. They died in a highway crash while driving to practice Monday, along with 17-year-old teammate Caden Fine, who was from Alabama. RCMP say the collision happened about 100 kilometers south of Calgary, just outside of Stavely, Alberta. A semi-truck hauling gravel was heading northbound on Highway 2. The teens were in a vehicle traveling east on a secondary roadway. Police say the collision happened as the car was attempting to cross the highway.
That's quite a large intersection. That vehicle would have had to come across 2 of the southbound lanes and then stop in the median and then proceed through. So when they proceeded through, that's when that passenger vehicle was hit by the semi-truck.
It's reminded Canadians of the 2018 crash between a semi and a bus carrying the Humboldt Broncos. 16 people were killed, 13 others injured, including Ryan Stritsnitsky.
Young kids playing hockey, I mean, you know what those are like, driving to practice with your buddies and being in the car, you know, those are like, you know, brothers.
Casorso was a goalie. Wright and Fine were forwards. It was their first season playing for the Southern Alberta Mustangs junior team. Before that, Casorso and Wright were part of the Kamloops Minor Hockey Association.
These guys just become part of your family. Hanging out, hotels, meals, at the houses, parties, get-togethers. Yeah, it's going to take some time.
That's JJ in the front row in the red pajamas. Shelley Lampro's son met JJ Wright in kindergarten and became fast friends.
It's really hard to wrap your mind around. Somebody that you've watched grow up, just suddenly gone.
An online fundraiser is underway to try to ease the financial burden of travel, funeral costs, and day-to-day expenses of the players' families.
And Caroline, there's been a reaction from right across the country.
That's right, Erica. This morning, Prime Minister Mark Carney offered his condolences to the families of the players. After that, parliamentarians held a moment of silence in the House of Commons. And last night, the Calgary Flames paid tribute to the teenagers. The Kamloops Minor Hockey Association is asking Canadians to put a hockey stick outside their doors as a way to honor the young lives lost.
Thanks, Caroline. That's Caroline Bargout reporting in Kamloops, BC tonight. And Caroline mentioned a tribute in Calgary last night. Well, tonight, the Edmonton Oilers also held a moment of silence for those 3 young players.
Our hearts are with their families, teammates, billet families, and everyone across the hockey community who's feeling the weight of this loss.
The game between the Oilers and Leafs is the last for each before the NHL breaks for the Olympics. An RCMP unit specializing in national security concerns is joining an ongoing investigation in London, Ontario. 4 people there are facing a series of charges, including possessing explosives and the chemicals to make them. But as Jennifer Yoon explains, it isn't clear why.
An alleged break and enter by one person at Western University has led to searches of 3 residences in 3 cities and dozens of criminal charges against 4 people. Last month, campus security arrested 27-year-old Jerry Tong after he allegedly tried to flee on foot. London police say they seized a loaded handgun. At this nearby home, officers found chemicals that could be used to make explosives, as well as finished high explosives. Now, Tong is facing multiple criminal charges, as are 3 other people who live in the house. 21-year-old Fei Young Astrid Ji, 25-year-old Fei Frank Han, and 26-year-old Zekun Wang. All 4 are charged with possessing prohibited firearms, manufacturing firearms, and possessing explosives. All studied sciences or engineering at Western. Han was part of the rocketry team there.
The story is very weird.
This firearms expert says it's gotten easier to manufacture illegal guns.
They are more and more easy to make, and plans are available on the internet.
Police also searched homes in Gatineau and Ottawa, linked to Tong.
It was quite startling. Like, I didn't know these people very well. Like, I'd met them before, but you just wouldn't expect that in your neighborhood.
But people shouldn't jump to conclusions, says one security expert.
The explosives, I think, are serious. The firearm is serious. But what they were seeking to do with that weaponry and with the possibility of bombs is completely unclear at this point.
The 4 suspects are in police custody. All but Tong have requested a Mandarin court interpreter for bail hearings in the next few weeks. Western University says it's working closely with London police, while police say the investigation is ongoing.
And Jennifer, the RCMP is also on the ground in London.
That's right, Erica. One of its specialized units dedicated to investigating terrorism and other threats is embedded with London police. The RCMP says that team is there to support and provide investigative help on national security issues.
Okay, thanks, Jennifer. Jennifer Yoon in Toronto tonight. To Ukraine now, where a large-scale Russian attack on the country's energy sector knocked out heating during freezing temperatures. Hundreds of combined missile and drone strikes hit buildings and infrastructure in Kyiv and other cities. More than 1,000 buildings were left without heat. President Volodymyr Zelensky says Russia has disregarded ongoing peace efforts and will be reaching out to the U.S. to discuss consequences. Peace talks are scheduled to resume tomorrow. A solemn repatriation in Trenton, Ontario, for the body of a Canadian Armed Forces member who died in Latvia. 24-year-old Sebastian Halmajon from Hamilton died last week. The gunner was deployed to Latvia for the Canadian-led NATO mission. The circumstances surrounding his death are under investigation. In Ottawa, former Prime Minister Stephen Harper's official portrait was unveiled, and current Prime Minister Mark Carney was there to honor him. Olivia Stefanovic shows politicians from opposing parties sharing a message of unity.
20 years after Stephen Harper first led the Conservative Party to electoral victory, the former Prime Minister is taking his place in Canadian history.
I have to tell you, I have not had a greeting that enthusiastic since the opposition used to welcome me to the House of Commons.
Using the moment to call for unity in perilous times.
We must preserve Canada, this country handed down to us by Providence, preserved by our ancestors, and held in trust for our descendants.
Prime Minister Mark Carney paid tribute to Harper and shared those sentiments on unity.
National unity, national reconciliation are more important than any one party or any one individual.
Harper appointed Carney governor of the Bank of Canada, just as the 2008 recession was taking shape. The crisis was a defining moment of Harper's 9 decisive and at times divisive years in power.
He did not let ideology prevent him from doing what was necessary, running deficits for 5 years to support the Canadian economy through the worst global downturn in generations. This was not a betrayal of principles. It was an expression of a deeper principle. The purpose of sound fiscal management is to serve Canadians, not the other way around.
Harper's portrait, painted by Toronto artist Phil Richards, shows Harper smiling, his Beatles mug close at hand, the Calgary skyline and Rocky Mountains peering from the window. And
if you look closely, you'll see one member of our family who consistently pulled better than I, Stanley the cat.
After more than a decade out of office, Harper's appeal is notable, says this pollster.
He is remembered as somebody who kind of led the country with some steadiness, not without controversy or things they disagreed with, but half the country still say they've got a level of trust in him, which shows the legacy that he's built over time.
A reminder of Harper's legacy will now hang in these halls of Parliament, honoring one of Canada's longest-serving prime ministers. Olivia Stefanovich, CBC News, Ottawa.
NASA's moon-bound Artemis II will stay grounded for at least a month after the latest rocket test showed a liquid hydrogen leak.
Wet dress rehearsal we had last night was a critical milestone on the way to Artemis II. That was the reason we went to the pad, was to do this test. It allowed our teams to test all the systems required in the all-up configuration. I think it's clear based on what we saw in real time, we're now targeting no earlier than a March for Artemis II launch.
NASA was aiming for a launch as early as February 8th. The goal is to send 4 astronauts, including Canadian Jeremy Hansen, on a 10-day mission around the moon for the first time in more than 50 years. And I'll have more news a little later in the hour, but now let's go to Adrian in Milan with the opening of the Winter Olympics just days away.
Thanks, Erica. Well, time is just about up for Italy to get ready for these games. Competition starts on Wednesday, so just hours from now, but construction, well, that is still happening at some venues. And the hype, it seems it's a little muted. Briar Stewart finds out why.
In one of Milan's grandest piazzas, in a store where shelves are lined with souvenirs, it's not hard to find those excited for the Olympics. And considering this stuffed mascot will set you back about $100, there are plenty willing to shell out for swag.
We love Italy to begin with, and it was just a perfect opportunity to see the Winter Olympics.
These Albertans happen to be in the city for a conference and are staying to see the first Canada women's hockey game.
So how would you describe the mood here?
I'd say it's definitely ramping up for sure.
For the days leading up, it maybe hasn't had that feel, but it's getting more and more. You hear more, there's more people celebrating it.
But beyond the most touristy areas, there are fewer signs of Olympic fever, and there aren't many chances for the public to soak in the atmosphere if they wanted to.
This is the only site in Milan where people are going to be able to gather to watch events on the big screen. And as you can see, just a few days before the opening ceremonies, still very much a work in progress.
So is the neighborhood of Santa Giulia, home to the new hockey arena. This area is part of a multi-year revitalization plan that was supposed to accelerate with the Olympics. So far, not much has changed.
So do you think people in Milan are excited about the Olympics?
Not so far, I have to say. We will see afterwards.
This professor of urban planning says there's been a lot of debate about development in the city, which has some feeling ambivalent or even against the games. But he says that also happened before Milan hosted the World Expo in 2015.
But then after, it was quite successful and important also for the city. So I hope that after that something will happen.
So maybe after the Olympics, people will say, that was pretty good, wasn't it?
Yes.
So maybe the Olympic buzz will come when the sites are finished and the competition begins.
As for ticket sales, organizers say they're mostly on track. They've sold just over 1 million. And Adrian, they do expect a full house for the opening ceremony on Friday.
All right, we will all be watching that. And Briar, you're down near the countdown clock, which is just across the piazza from us. Clearly one way Organizers are trying to build some buzz, but it feels, I think, like they're up against a lot.
Yeah, and the spread out nature of the games is an obvious factor. I mean, here in Milan, there is just the one fan zone, and residents of this city aren't getting the same kind of heavily discounted tickets that they did back in 2015 for the World Expo. And of course, this is a city that hosts a lot of international events. There's Fashion Week, there's Design Week. So when it comes to welcoming the world for the Olympics, it doesn't feel quite as unique.
All right, that is Briar Stewart here in Milan tonight. We will see a lot more of you in the weeks to come. One of the biggest stars of Team USA says a recent injury will not keep her out of these games.
I know what my chances were before the crash, and I know my chances aren't the same as it stands today, but I know there's still a chance. And as long as there's a chance, I will try.
Downhill skier Lindsey Vonn ruptured her ACL on Friday when she lost control at a race in Switzerland and slid into the safety netting. The 41-year-old Olympic champion is leading the World Cup standings this season. Vonn's first race here in Italy is scheduled for Sunday. Because these games are spread out across northern Italy, that means the athletes are too. The IOC says just about a third of the Olympians are hanging their flags in Milan. So how does that change the feel of the athletes' village? We got the first look today.
A very first look at the athletes' village in Milan. It is as you would hope it to be, a place where traditions live.
So thank you for bringing the moose.
Perennial village favorite, Canada's moose, modular and not yet named.
In Paris, it was very democratic and we had a vote.
That is 2016 gold medalist Erica Wiebe, wrestler turned athlete ambassador, if you will.
Everyone just shows up and is so excited to be here.
She knows the rules and the fun, including guessing the sport by looking at the athlete.
What do you figure?
Women's hockey.
Okay. That's the Italian women's hockey team?
Yeah, because they're all short, they're all always moving in a pack.
Canada's accommodations are shared with countries like South Korea and the Netherlands. All these new buildings holding some 1,500 athletes and support staff. The whole complex will eventually be turned into much-needed university residences.
This is the Team Canada building.
Already, it feels like a dorm.
Okay, we're all going in.
How long before you guys trade jackets?
I would be very surprised if they traded us.
Oh!
Milan's village is one of 6 athlete accommodations in Italy, so it's small, but that makes this an opportunity to get to know the neighbors.
Okay, we found Brad Marchand's room.
NHLers will stay right next to everyone else. For Olympic vet and gold medalist Isabel Wiedemann, that makes this a good chance for the speed skater to connect.
I don't know those athletes at all. We don't train alongside them. I know the women's hockey team quite well because we share a venue in Calgary, but yeah, people from different sports that I've never met. So I'm excited.
Welcome.
This is not bad.
To an athlete room in the Olympic Village.
Nothing fancy at first glance. But leave it to the likes of Sarah Nurse and her hockey teammates to make the space their own. Imagine seeing this whole village, the flags, the camaraderie of it all through fresh eyes, like those of first-time Olympian speed skater William Dangenou.
I was talking to my teammates, it almost feels like a utopia here, you know, like a village where everyone is, you know, healthy, wants to improve themselves, and they're here for a purpose also, which is great.
Togetherness matters in this era, as do sparks of whimsy. A little encouragement here to pick a plant, name it, care for it, ease some Olympic-sized stress. Figure skater Madeline Skeesis getting in on this.
Listen, this is a very important plant you've got. You cannot kill a plant that's called Ilya Rozanov.
Yeah, I saw someone got Shane Hollander.
Okay.
But maybe one of my roommates will, and then they can be together.
Aww.
In competition, they work. In the village, they play. In Milan, this is home.
The village, well, that's important, but the competition is what the athletes are really here for. So much of that happens on ice, and here in Milan, Canadians are in charge of a lot of it.
I think we've done a pretty good job here of raising those expectations that just good enough is not good enough. It has to be the absolute best.
From hockey to speed skating, athletes will get to know the work of these Canadian ice masters very well. They show me the ins, the outs, and the innovation of ice making here in Milan.
Plus, Donald Trump says Republicans should nationalize voting in U.S. elections.
It is brazenly unconstitutional and chillingly totalitarian.
The alarm and outrage over his comments. And later, we're still not eating enough fruits and vegetables, and not often enough.
This is, I think, something that we definitely need to work on and improve.
New research on how it's putting Canadians at higher risk for heart disease and stroke. We're back in 2. Toys R Us Canada has filed for creditor protection. The company says it owes at least $120 million to its vendors, in addition to what it owes to landlords. The struggling retailer has closed dozens of stores in the past 2 years and says it may need to close more. The U.S. president is doubling down on his suggestion that Republicans should oversee elections in some states. The remarks come ahead of the U.S. midterms this fall. And as Katie Nicholson shows us, Democrats are pushing back on a move that would be at odds with the American Constitution.
Mr. President, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much, Dan.
In a chummy chat on his former FBI deputy director's podcast, Donald Trump dropped this bombshell to potentially take over elections.
We should take over the voting in at least 15 places. The Republicans ought to nationalize the voting. And we have states that are so crooked.
The reaction was swift.
It is brazenly unconstitutional and chillingly totalitarian. Americans should be afraid.
Outrageous and not unexpected. He's been building up to this.
This provides a huge danger to our country going forward and the safety and security of these elections.
But the White House press secretary says that's not what the president meant.
What the president was referring to is the SAVE Act, which is a huge common sense piece of legislation that Republicans have supported.
That act is a contentious piece of legislation that toughens voter identification rules. But hours later, Trump repeated what he said on the podcast.
I want to see elections be honest, and if a state can't run an election, I think the people behind me should do something about it.
That proclamation a week after the FBI seized the 2020 election ballots and voter rolls from Fulton County, Georgia, which Trump to this day insists he won, even though 3 counts proved otherwise. And then there was the puzzling presence of the director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, snapped wearing a baseball hat, talking on the phone. My presence, she wrote to Congress, was requested by the president. These actions worrisome, says this law professor.
The continuing delegitimation of the election process in the United States without a real factual basis for that is deeply, deeply troubling because it undermines confidence in the election process.
And with consequences that could reach into the midterms now, just 9 months away. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Washington.
In the aftermath of the crackdown on protesters in Iran, we're getting a clearer picture of the violence perpetrated by the regime. A first-hand account from a doctor who was there.
Plus, I'll be back from Milan with the Canadians taking care of something absolutely vital for these Winter Olympic Games. So you can't screw this up.
Number one, we're Canadian. We don't screw up. We do the best we can.
The pressure they're facing to get the ice done right and on time. The National breaks down the stories shaping our world. Next.
We do believe that Nancy was taken from her home against her will, and that's where we're at.
The search continues for the missing 84-year-old mother of NBC morning show host Savannah Guthrie. Nancy Guthrie was last seen at her Arizona home Saturday night, but disappeared overnight. Police say they found signs of forced entry at the home. Guthrie's family says Nancy has limited mobility and could die without her medication. A new report from the Heart and Stroke Foundation says the vast majority of early heart disease and strokes in this country are preventable with a few lifestyle changes. Jennifer LaGrassa shows the importance of something we hear starting in childhood.
Alana Trainoff completely changed her life after having a heart attack at 40 years old.
It was really scary.
A family history of heart disease mixed with decades of smoking and unhealthy eating all contributed.
I just never thought in a million years that that would happen to me.
But it can be avoidable. Canada's Heart and Stroke Foundation says 80% of early heart disease or stroke cases can be prevented with a healthy lifestyle.
Heart disease shouldn't be, seen as destiny. This is something we can change.
This annual report breaks down multiple risk factors, including exercise. Only half of adults meet the weekly recommendation of 150 minutes of moderate to intense activity. Vaping, more than 1 in 4 grade 12 students vape. And diet. Since 2015, Canadians have been eating fewer fruits and vegetables.
This is, I think, something that we definitely need to work on and improve.
Nearly 8 in 10 Canadians report eating fruits and vegetables fewer than 5 times per day. In 2023, 18 to 34-year-olds had the lowest rate of consumption. This dietitian says adults should aim for 5 servings a day.
A serving is half a cup, or 1 cup of leafy greens, or 1 regular size fruit. The average salad will have probably 3 or 4 servings of vegetables in it.
But cost and time often push people to eat junk or fast food. The report also says that ultra-processed foods make up nearly half of people's total energy intake.
If people are just bombarded with ultra-processed food at cheaper prices, we can't really continue to put the blame on individuals for that consumption.
Experts say there's more government can do, including regulations on marketing unhealthy food to kids. As for Trainoff, she's quit smoking and reversed many old habits, leaving her feeling more in control of her health. Jennifer Lagrassa, CBC News, Windsor, Ontario.
Now it's time to dig deeper into the stories shaping our world. A fresh dusting and just in time, heavy snow has blanketed some of the alpine venues where snow levels had been a concern.
It's nice to have a little snow around rather than just everything green. It's beautiful scenery out there. The players are enjoying it.
So more snow is in place. And in Milan, so is the ice. Much of it meticulously made by Canadians. Milan is home to the big ice events like speed skating and hockey, and there have been concerns over whether some of that ice would be ready in time. But we caught up with the 2 Canadians in charge back in December who insist not only will it be ready, it will be great.
The Italians took all this time, screwed up this rink.
Before the first puck ever hit this ice, the internet sure hit the roof.
Personally, I think it's a disgrace.
There's a giant hole in the ice.
How did this happen?
An arena not finished, the rink too small, worried some.
A lot of people saying, what is that, a scoreboard for ants?
There's going to be about 2,000 fewer seats.
Anxiety so serious, the NHL said it wouldn't hesitate to pull its players.
Could NHL players not be going to this year's Olympics?
But they're coming, and that ice?
I have 100% confidence that we will be completely ready. Okay, this one has to be perfect. Freeze there.
Don Moffat, the Canadian ice master, whose regular job is with the Colorado Avalanche, here in Milan with his almost famous little orange notebook. It's filled with details about temperature, humidity, occupancy, how often doors are opening and closing, every factor that could affect ice quality.
When you see the skate
And if this man, who's done 5 Olympics, isn't worried, what a relief for the rest.
Maybe some of the suites, the locker rooms might not be quite as nice as everybody wants, but we're going to be able to play hockey for sure.
There are 2 hockey venues. Santa Giulia, also known as Hockey 1, holds more fans. It will host the biggest games. Some of that building is still unfinished. And the smaller Hockey 2, where we met Don in December. Both rinks slightly wider and shorter than regular NHL rinks. Another difference, longer intermissions. Don pushed for that.
An increase of 3 minutes, which is to an ice maker is an eternity. Go farther back.
Fussy for a reason. One of the few times Canadians weren't involved in making the ice was Sochi 2014.
John Tavares barged in, missed the puck, and he's hurt.
Team Canada's Jonathan Tavares so injured on that ice, he was out for the season.
Do you think there was something wrong with the ice in Sochi?
It definitely was probably not up to our NHL standards. That's been probably my biggest challenge here in Italy. It's not a big hockey country. The ice qualities and the level of professionalism in Europe is nowhere close to what the National Hockey League expects. I think we've done a pretty good job here of raising those expectations that just good enough is not good enough. It has to be the absolute best that we can do. Brandon, have you got the dot?
Don takes it incredibly seriously.
So we're just going to follow the outside. Oop.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
That was an excellent start.
Even if he's willing to share in the chaotic magic of it all.
Doing the best I can, yikes.
That's okay. Oh.
Teaching anyone he can how to try to get it right.
I'm getting you wet.
That's okay.
When the Canadians play for their gold medal and something important happens here, we were here.
That's how we do a dot.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
The Canadian expertise here is legendary, and as proud as they all are of that, you will hear again and again that when it comes to hockey, no one here plays favorites. They are totally neutral. It is something they have to say because once upon a time, people took that Canadian pride a little too far.
Gold medal, Canada!
It was Salt Lake City 2002. Great year for Canadian hockey. Both the men and women won gold against the Americans. Delicious victories. And maybe fate, because lo and behold, what was buried in the ice but a lucky loonie.
They buried this Canadian loonie underneath center ice for good luck. We got 2 gold medals out of it.
That loonie was the talk of the games. That a Canadian ice maker had put the loonie there made him a bit of a folk hero in the moment.
I'd like to say it was a part of the good luck charm.
The loonie ended up in the Hockey Hall of Fame, but the man who put it there, it didn't work out so well for him.
The gentleman that put the loonie in Salt Lake never got the opportunity to work another international event. You know, so we are neutral. We're kind of like the referees. We provide the absolute best surface for the best athletes in the world. We don't put anything in the ice.
So that was a short-lived tradition. How to perfect the ice is an ever-evolving process. And over at another venue, temporarily called the Milano Speed Skating Stadium, another Canadian ice maker, Mark Messer, was put in charge of an experiment that could change the sport.
So you can't screw this up?
Well, we can never screw this up. I mean, number one, we're Canadian. We don't screw up. We do the best we can.
Ice for long-track speed skating is harder and colder than it is for hockey. The finish perfectly smooth. That's difficult enough to do. But now, for the first time, the oval is temporary, built inside a sprawling exhibition hall. Took about 30 days to set up the system, another 12 to get the ice into shape. And if this all works well, speed skating competitions could be held almost anywhere. No more need for permanent pricey structures.
What makes this especially complicated?
Well, this is not made on a concrete floor. What it's made on is a layer of insulation. So we have 10 centimeters of insulation first, and it's a rubber matting system that has the cold glycol in it. As well, we have to make the floor colder because we have to carry more ice because of the flexibility in all the floors.
Okay, let's stop him there, but really, he's not done. This is a complicated process. And the reviews from the athletes who tried it in December is that, well, skating on this reminds them of this. Do you hear the blades on the ice? There's a kind of hollowness to that sound of skating on a lake that the skaters in the Milan Oval say they hear and feel too. Not something they're used to hearing inside an oval. And depending on who you ask, that difference is romantic and lovely, or it's a bit weird.
Here, with it being raised in an artificial surface, you have no mass to push against under the ice, so it almost feels hollow. So I think it'll be a bit of a mind game with the athletes when they first get here. It's a little bit of...
That's Canadian Tyler Mulcock. He's the manager of high performance and long track for Speed Skating Canada. And for him, all the details matter. He thinks the sound will play a big part in how the athletes get ready.
Is there feedback when they push off? Like that there's a little...
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. And even going full tilt in the corners, they're afraid that the ice might break out and then give way.
You're not describing perfect ice.
No, and I think that's what these athletes are used to going all over the world. You have to adapt to all the different kinds of ice, so you still have to be able to perform at your best regardless of where you are.
Observations Mark Messer needs and wants to know. They tell him a thing or two.
Number one, they have to get it in their head that that's the sound. And once they get used to that, then it won't be an effect for them. But other than that, it should feel the same. It also tells me that we haven't fine-tuned the water composition, for one, and the temperatures that we want.
The fine-tuning far from done. It will keep happening during competition, too. So while the rest of us are watching the finish lines at speed skating and counting the goals at hockey,
Yeah, that's good.
There are some Canadians who will never take their eyes off the ice.
And those venues will get their first real test very soon. Ice hockey starts at Santa Julia on Thursday, and speed skating begins Saturday. And a reminder, we'll be here in Milan all week in the lead up to Friday's opening ceremony. I'll be co-hosting our coverage with Devin Haru from CBC Sports. It starts at 1:30 p.m. Eastern, wherever you watch CBC. That is it for us here tonight. We will have more special coverage for you Wednesday. Until then, it's back to Erica in Vancouver.
Thanks, Adrian. Coming up, a closer look at Iran's brutal crackdown on protesters. We'll hear from a doctor who witnessed the bloody toll firsthand. Next. A bloody crackdown on thousands of Iranian citizens protesting against their theocratic government. Straining medical resources and pushing doctors and nurses to the edge. Senior international correspondent Margaret Evans spoke to an Iranian doctor to get a first-hand account of the government's crackdown and bloody toll.
The first patient brought in at 8 p.m. was already dead when they got him there. We couldn't really help him. From then until morning, we had about 8 more fatalities.
The words of a doctor describing her shift at a small medical clinic in an Iranian city on January 9th, the second day of a nationwide internet blackout ordered by authorities. The better to hide what they were doing, say witnesses.
The night before, the injuries were mostly to the waist down and with pellet shots. But that night, the first patient was hit directly in the chest. After that, all the people we got were hit by live ammunition.
We're withholding her name and location and altering her voice for her protection and that of friends and colleagues still in Iran. Activists believe most demonstrators who died were killed on the first 2 nights of the internet shutdown.
The scenes were extremely horrifying. Our clothes were full of blood. The floor was full of blood.
Medical staff used to dealing with ankle sprains and flu bugs found themselves overwhelmed and under-equipped for the type of injuries coming through their door.
The patients had severe bleeding, but both they and the people with them were so afraid of going to the hospital that they refused. We kept hearing that whoever goes to the big hospitals, they'll detain them. And after that, no one knows what will happen to them.
Even before the internet blackout, there were reports of Iran's security forces seeking out protesters in hospitals and pulling them out.
The hardest part was seeing the young people who died, and I couldn't do anything for them.
The doctor dismisses government claims that outsiders were responsible for the killings.
A large number of their own forces had masked their faces and were in the streets with Kalashnikovs. I'm sure it was their own forces shooting people. I've seen their violence before.
She doesn't know if she'll be able to go back. Medics who helped the injured reportedly also being sought by security forces. They came to her clinic after she left, she says, taking the CCTV footage.
So they can identify anyone who has helped the injured.
One network of medical professionals in Iran has predicted the number of dead could top 30,000. The doctor believes it's possible, citing an ambulance driver who told her he'd moved some 500 bodies to a cemetery in 48 hours.
There wasn't enough space for the bodies, so they had to put all of them in a container. If this happened in our area, surely it's the same in other places.
The doctor says she has no idea what to do. The Iranians feel desperate. She says she's spending her days with the hope that this regime falls.
The World Health Organization says at least 5 Iranian doctors have been arrested for treating injured protesters, and more than 50 healthcare workers were injured during January's unrest. The recent caught-on-camera kidnapping of a popular social media influencer highlights the way Mexico's cartel wars are playing out on the internet. As Jorge Barrera reports, real-world violence is permeating the virtual world with life and death consequences.
A kidnapping caught on video. The target, 20-year-old Nicole Pardo, a social media influencer known as La Nicolette, who has hundreds of thousands of followers. She was taken on January 20th from the northwestern Mexican state of Sinaloa.
Sobre el secuestro de la influencer conocida como Nicoleta.
The incident brought to the attention of Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum. Pardo's kidnapping adds to a list that's seen over 20 influencers kidnapped or killed across Mexico in the last 5 years, 12 murdered just last year alone.
The social media space is this kind of propaganda war that takes place between the cartels.
Mexico's real-life conflicts often spill into the social media sphere, says Deborah Bonello, an expert on organized crime in Mexico.
And the way of silencing that propaganda or that messaging is to silence the messenger.
While kidnapped, a video of Pardo surfaces.
She's saying that she's there for a reason, because she works for the Maita faction of the Sinaloa cartel, which gives her money to pay off the police.
The Mayitos are one of the warring factions of the Sinaloa cartel, one of the most powerful drug trafficking groups in the world, once led by Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. Now the cartel, torn apart by a civil war that's left thousands dead or missing.
Yo como influencer te puedo decir que claro que me ha dado miedo.
Nelly Peña is an influencer from Culiacán and says she often thinks twice before clicking publish.
¿Podré subir este tipo de contenido? ¿No llamará la atención?
Suddenly, on January 20th, Pardo is released. The next day, this video appears of Pardo in a Catholic church, tearfully thanking the congregation for praying for her.
She survived. And a lot of the influencers who are targeted by organized crime do not.
CBC News reached out to Pardo for comment over Instagram. She said she wasn't ready yet to make a statement about her ordeal.
It's still not clear why Nicole Pardo was set free unharmed, but the 20-year-old is a dual Mexican and U.S. citizen whose case was being monitored by the American consulate. That's leading some to speculate that the U.S. State Department may have played a role in her release. Coming up, snowshoe artists make their mark in New Brunswick.
You definitely have to be focused because every step matters.
Their massive creation in the snow. Next, in our moment. You're looking at a huge compass that was created on top of a frozen reservoir using snowshoes in New Brunswick. Matt Robinson and Alan Cruz, the snowshoe artists, mapped out a plan and walked for almost 4 hours to make the design. Their creation in the snow makes our moment.
You definitely have to be focused because every step matters. We create large-scale, sustainable art pieces in snow with snowshoes. They can be around for a few hours to a few weeks, depending on what Mother Nature decides to do. There's a lot of pre-planning. We sit down and tweak the doodles on graph paper and print them out, laminate them, have them on lanyards. This design, the compass, was 3.5 to 4 hours. And we don't really see the final design until we fly our drone up 4 hours later and check it out. It's rewarding. It's a happy moment because you put all this physical effort into it and mental effort coming up with it, and you just get excited. The fact that it is fleeting and it can disappear quickly, that's all the more beauty in it.
The creation is 50 meters in diameter, and Matt told our producer he's been making one of these since 2020. And he also said it involves a lot of math, the design, and executing it. But he said, luckily, he likes math. Lucky for us, too. From all of us at The National, thank you for being with us. I'm Erica Johnson in Vancouver. Take care.